All right. So, um, have you ever like tried to put together a jigsaw puzzle, but like half the pieces are missing?
Oh, yeah.
It's just like super annoying.
Yeah, it is.
Right.
Yeah.
That's kind of what it's like when you're working with data analysis tools, but you're missing context. It's like they've got all this information, but they're missing those like really crucial connections that can show you the big picture.
Right. Yeah.
So that's where DAX comes in. And it's this language that tools like Excel use to actually make sense of all that data and find those hidden patterns.
Okay.
And today we're going to take a deep dive into one of the coolest DAX functions.
Oh, cool.
It's called related table.
Okay.
And it might sound really simple at first, but trust me, this little function is seriously powerful.
Interesting.
So what are your thoughts on this so far? Just from like looking at the material.
Well, I think what's really interesting about related table is it basically lets you bridge the gap between different tables of data that are related to each other.
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of like you were saying with the jigsaw puzzle, it's like suddenly finding those missing pieces,
Oh, yeah.
And then finally seeing the complete picture.
Yeah, yeah. And the sources we've been looking at for this episode really point out that it goes way beyond just merging data. It's not just about like sticking tables together. It's more about being able to analyze your data with all those important connections in mind.
Okay. Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. So think about it like this. Okay. So you've got your sales data.
Right.
And it's all in one table. And it's got like every little detail about every sale. And then you have this other table that's full of customer information, like their age, their location, their purchase history, like all that good stuff.
Yeah, all the juicy details.
Exactly. So related table is like this magic tool that lets you analyze those sales trends based on all those specific things about your customers.
Gotcha.
And you don't have to manually sort through everything or filter things out. It does it for you.
Okay, so instead of just knowing that we sold like a ton of widgets in January,
right,
we could actually see that those widgets were mostly bought by like, I don't know, millennials who live in cities or something.
Yeah, exactly.
That's really cool.
Yeah. And the best part is it's actually really simple to use. So the way you write it is pretty straightforward. It's just a related table, and then in parentheses, you put the name of the table that you want to bring into your analysis. And that's it. Like, you don't need any crazy formulas or like complicated code or anything.
That's pretty amazing when you think about it, right?
Yeah.
But this brings us to this idea of context, which the sources talk a lot about.
Right.
So can you kind of explain what that means, like in simple terms?
Sure. So basically, context in this case is all about how the filters you apply to one table can actually affect the results you see in a totally different but related table.
Oh, okay.
It all comes down to the relationships you set up between your data.
Gotcha.
So, for example, let's say you filter your sales data to only show purchases made in January.
Okay.
Now, because you have this relationship set up with your customer table, related table can instantly show you the demographics of those January customers, all without you having to create a separate filter table just for that.
Okay, so it's like those filters are kind of causing this chain reaction throughout our data, right?
Yeah. Good.
That makes a lot more sense now.
Good.
The source also mentions something pretty interesting.
Okay.
It says that related table is basically a shortcut for this more complex function called calculate table. Could you kind of break down what that means, like in a way that we can all understand?
Sure. So you can think of calculate table as this big, powerful tool, right? Like it's got all the bells and whistles. Okay.
And you can use it to create all sorts of like really specific logical expressions to define exactly how you want your data to be filtered and calculated.
Okay.
But related table comes in and it's like, hey, you know what? If all you need to do is analyze data within the context of another table, I can make that way easier for you.
Oh, cool.
So it's like, remember all those times you had to manually filter and combine data sets just to figure out things like customer demographics?
Yeah.
Related table basically says you don't have to do that anymore.
Awesome.
Yeah. It takes care of all that for you.
Okay, so I totally get how related table simplifies things a lot. But wouldn't it be even better if it worked like in every single situation?
Right.
The source mentions some limitations, though, specifically when it comes to direct query mode.
Yeah.
What are the downsides there?
Well, that's a really good question. So direct query mode is kind of like streaming your data,
Okay.
It's like you're getting a live feed straight from your database.
Oh, I see. Whereas related table works best with data that's already loaded up into Excel.
Okay.
So it's kind of like, trying to watch a live football game, but all you have is a DVD player.
Right. It just won't work.
Exactly. It's just not the right tool for the job. So even though related table is super powerful, it does have its specific use cases.
Okay.
It's not going to work perfectly in every single scenario. And one of those is direct query mode for things like calculated columns or RLS rules.
Wait, hold on. RLS rules. Could you explain what those are for those of us who aren't like data security experts?
Yeah, absolutely. So imagine you're a librarian and you get to decide who can borrow which books, right?
Okay.
RLS rules or row level security rules, they're kind of like that, but for data.
Okay.
They basically say, okay, these people can see this data, but these people can't. Like it's controlling access to specific rows in a table based on who the user is and what their permissions are. It's a super important way to make sure your data is safe and that you're protecting people's privacy.
Got it. So that makes a lot more sense now. So to wrap things up, related table basically lets us analyze all of our related data without any hassle.
Right.
It's super efficient, and it helps us see things that we might have missed otherwise just by making those connections between our different data sets. It's kind of like having a superpower for data analysis, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, for sure. And here's something to think about as you go about your work,
Okay.
As you're digging into your data, ask yourself this. Are there any hidden connections, like things you might not have thought of before? Because related table could be the key to unlocking those insights and really taking your analysis to the next level.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yep.
I think I need to go play around with this function now.
It's fun. It's fun.
All right, well, thanks for breaking all that down for us.
Yeah, no problem. Glad to be here.
Until next time.
See you later.